restricted to COPE. You then said yesterday, as part of your testimony, that you had been approached again to join a political party, which I assume was recent. Can you take us into confidence which political party would have tried to recruit you?
No, there was no specific political party that tried to recruit me, but there was a statement made by EFF that says all wanted me to join them, but they never approached me. It was just a statement.
No, we know you. General Mkwanazi, so during your testimony, you've been quite critical of General Sibiya. I just want to check that when General Sibiya was reappointed to the South African Police Service, do you know where he was coming from when he rejoined the National Office of SAPS?
The records I have is that he was employed at the city of Johannesburg. He came from the city of Johannesburg.
Do you know when General Sibiya was appointed at city of Joburg?
I'm not sure of the appointment date. I can check on the records that I have here, but I cannot remember exactly out of my head of his appointment. But that will have been done, I think, about maybe 2019, 2020, something about. But I'll find the records and I'll come back to you on it.
Okay. Would you happen to know who was the mayor when General Sibiya was appointed in the city of Johannesburg?
Yeah. I'm not. I'll be lying if I say now. But what I know is that the mayor that was responding or made a statement with regard to the allegations that were leveled against him in the city of Johannesburg, where he made mention of the investigations or the procurement of.
Sorry, General, that's not my question. Let me help you. General Sibiya was appointed to head forensic at the city of Johannesburg in 2016. The mayor then was Mayor Herman Mashaba. Would you know which party Herman Mashaba comes from?
He's a member of or is a leader of the Action SA party.
Thank you, General. You have extensively implicated Honorable Kola Barnett as having interfered with the work of criminal intelligence. General Mkwanazi, would you happen to know which party Honorable Kola Barnett is from?
The Democratic Alliance.
Thank you. And then my last question, you've also implicated Honorable Adams for having possessed unlawfully classified information. Would you know which party Honorable Adams represents?
Beyond the correction, this is a colored Congress, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you. General, having given those responses, then would you say that there are a number of political parties that are involved in interference with the work of criminal intelligence? Would that be correct?
You would be correct in saying that there are individuals, and some of them, honorable members, might be the members of political parties that might have broken away from the African National Congress at the time. When they were part of the National Congress. I spoke about COPE as an example. It was a breakaway from the African National Congress. But by and large, the involvement of political parties in the mismanagement within the ACPS, especially crime intelligence, I don't think is based on a political party specific. It's members within crime intelligence that approaches anyone that they can influence within the political space to achieve what they want to achieve. So we, as we're investigating, we're not apportioning the blame to a specific political parties, but we are specifically accusing the members of political parties that allow this influence to happen.
Thank you very much, General. General, I know that this question has been asked in one way or the other, but I think it's important, given your testimony around the impact that all of this has had on our criminal justice system. What is your view of how the events since the 6th of July have affected the SAPS? And we're asking because, as you have been speaking, you have very what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say, you know, in an emotional way, but you have demonstrated to all of us the care and regard that you hold the police officers. So since the 6th of July, how has the service been, have members been able to execute their responsibilities? Are things getting better?
The SAPS is a big organization. The incident we spoke about on the 6th of July does not necessarily affect directly the entire organization. It's a portion of the SAPS that got affected. And of course, whatever that people has been speaking about out there, that seems to be painting a bad picture in the SAPS. But what we've seen is the outcome, an impact that our activities on the 6th of July has had in the SAPS is most of the time brings about hope into the intervention that the government and the executive is taking to try and create some stability in the organization. And this is a platform that allows at least the members to vent and see that the management cares about them, because we risk our careers, we risk our lives, and stand on their behalf to try and protect them. So internal within the organization, there's a lot of hope that we are seeing. Members are encouraged to go out there and fight crime. Even those that were a bit demoralized, they now have a bit of hope that something good is coming out of this, and therefore they will be able to do good going forward.
Thank you, General, and I hope that we will be able to assist where we can, really to get that hope realized. Generally, our terms of reference as an ad hoc committee obviously are very much geared to finding solutions. Now, you've made comments about officers capturing ministers, and we ask this genuinely, that how do you think it can be prevented? Because you've said in certain instances it is unknowing, or, you know, a similar word. What do you think needs to be done in your view? Is it a pure policing responsibility, or does it go beyond that?
Within the SAPS, it becomes a bit difficult if certain individuals within the SAPS are not going to be able to be standing firm in protecting the institution, and then allowing the executive authority to abuse the system. But I'll request an oversight body to look at the mechanisms that are already in existence. Like in this case, I made a reference to the establishment of the office of the secretariat in the office of the Minister of Police, and the functions that are given to that office by the Act. And then we interrogate whether does the Minister of Police make use of that office in the true sense of what the legislature aims for that office to be used for. And if you'll identify early by interviewing and engaging with the DG in that office, whether is any collaboration, a good working relationship between the minister and that office, because once there's a problem there, it then allows the minister to bypass that office and go to the institutions, because that's a safeguard in the South African police that I think the legislature, when government decided to create that office and in the Act, it was a good move. But it looks like it's an office that has not necessarily been taken serious for what it's supposed to do in advising the minister on the how part. We've got many entities that report to the Minister of Police. There's security on the other side, there's police on the other side, there's IPIT on the other side, and you know, SIRA, they all need some involvement of the minister in one way or another. So, but the moment the minister leaves that office and forget about the police and then runs around and focusing on the South African Police Service alone, these other entities are going to suffer. And it makes the minister to be busy with operational things in the police and forget about the police that affects everyone else. Because there's many demands that are sitting as a responsibility of the Minister of Police in that space. So legislation, oversight on what the minister does, it is some of the things that might be looked at. And also the interaction. I was going to say in this case, what I made a recommendation about was to decide whether can we centralize the accounting of crime intelligence. You have two budgets that are passed by this parliament that must be accounted for within one entity of the police. And you find that there's uncertainty by the members of parliament within the portfolio committee on police, whether to ask this question or not to ask this question. If they ask this question and the response of police might say that belongs to the JCI, and you go that side, they might turn around and say, no, that's an open account, don't ask us. So we might want to look at how can we best make the SCPS to account in as far as intelligence is concerned. And that's and there we were able to see the role. It must be written in black and white. When you look at the Constitution, you look at the Police Act, crime intelligence is not written there in details and the how part to account. It is an intelligence established other than the intelligence within the police and the defense that is written in the Constitution. And that is SSA. So any crime intelligence within the police and defense intelligence, well, I did not interrogate much of the defense, but the South African Police Service is not explicit in the Constitution, the how part, as it is with the PCI. Perhaps it's something that might need to be done there so that it's clear on what type of engagement does the intelligence has with the executive authority, if any. They will engage in this fashion when they produce a report, when they do this, when they do that, and must be outlined. The failure to do that or the absence of that, it leads into this interference, that, if you will, which majority of the time is the members from within crime intelligence that goes to influence the executive authority. But because there's no legislation that stops that, it then happens.
Thank you. Thank you, General. My colleague who spoke earlier was the Chair of Justice. I'm the Chair of Communication, so I take a big interest in issues of media. So I want to go back, General, to your media briefing. I think you've spoken to us on the decision to hold that briefing. Now, I want to ask questions, but I'm afraid, because your testimony, amongst others, indicated that there are people with grabbers, they are listening to our messages and our phones and what. Should we, as this parliament, or at least this ad hoc committee, take that to be an example, or are you putting it on the record? Because I would assume such is unlawful, General.
There are a lot of things that are unlawful that are coming to this country. A listening device gadget can come in pieces. This computer can be stripped in different parts and be brought into this country and assembled here and get used. The legislature should ask themselves a question. What makes, I'm not saying this is what they do, but the question that as a security person that I ask myself, what makes big security companies to be successful in investigation nowadays in this country? There are so many of them. They call themselves, they're forensic investigators, they're this and they're that and they're that. They trace things and they're doing a good job because they're able to find criminals. But how do they do it? That the SCP is not able to do. It's because of the gadgets that they have in their positions. Some journalists nowadays will say they are investigating, but they're actually listening to people's communication, and they come up with reports, they publish them. Because we don't know the existence of these gadgets. And that's why the intelligence of this country need to up their game and help us to stop this. Otherwise, you have people that run amok and they abuse the system that exists in the country. So it's a challenge that we have. I can say that without failure, because we've seen, as we investigate and we arrest, we've arrested a lot of criminals that are involved with truck hijacking, as an example. I just want to use a classic example. It's not a listening device, but it's a jamming device. They fly from wherever they fly from, and the information we have, they land in Lesotho. When they arrive in Lesotho, then they get transported into the country. A jammer, a small jammer machine, you put it in the car, you drive next to the truck. The truck had left Durban with the cargo, the vehicle drives behind the truck and it blocks the signal. While the truck is driving,